quick thoughts on Blender.
Yes.
Adding a button is not enough. We need to unlock the full power of Blender with operators. In the last video, we added a custom UI, buttons and panels. Problem is, the button can only use built-in operators. This means you can only execute one line of code in your button handler, and it can't be very complex. It has to be built in. With the custom operators we build in this video, we'll learn how to leverage the full power of Python with our custom button. Then you'll be a Blender power user, scripting your unique process so that you're more efficient than your competition. How to implement custom operators in Blender. So what are we talking about today? What is the overview? Well, we're doing project-based learning. We have 2 projects to do. The first one is a hello world operator, as simple as it gets, really just a learning exercise. And there are 4 steps. First, we'll run just the script. Then we'll define and register an operator to run that script. So we'll see what it does, and then we'll put it into an operator so that we can use it and run it via F3. Then we'll add it to the panel from the previous video so that we have it tied to a button in the user interface. And finally, we'll make it an add-on. For the second project, we'll do a VSE text adder, also an operator in a panel. It's a little bit more practical, actually potentially useful, not just hello world. And it's the same thing. We do the script, we do the operator, we do the panel, and we do the add-on. Then we'll talk about next steps. What else can we learn in future videos? Before we get into it, why bother? Man, I'm glad you asked. We got to take back tech. That's PageKey. So you have to hear my spiel real quick. Tech is good. We want to solve a problem once, save time and effort for the next time, solve a bigger problem, repeat. We all get better lives if we have better technology and we do these things with our hearts in the right place. But big companies, hey, they're also good because they developed the tech we could only dream of a century ago. Imagine a smartphone in your pocket in 1900. People would think you're a magician. It would be crazy. Nobody would even know what's going on. So that's good, but potentially bad that we are dependent on these companies for this technology because it puts most of our life outside our locus of control. Think about the last time that a new user interface update came in to your email app and you had to figure out how to use it. Did you really need that? Did you ask for that? Probably not. You know who decided that? Not you. Anyway, so if we break down existing tech, rebuild it, and understand the full stack, these companies obviously want us to be dependent on them because it's profitable, fair play to them, but there's nothing stopping us from breaking it down ourselves and becoming less dependent on them because it benefits us. So we all have to look out for ourselves. We get freedom to manage our own tech, and that is ultimately good. We can stop gatekeeping each other and solve more problems and keep making progress. So the tools to do all this are already out there. However, they are hard to find and hard to use. So this channel is all about breaking that down and making it much easier. We want to gain independence over our own technological choices and lives. So project 1, just the script. So if you run this script, you're going to see every object in the scene move over just a bit. So let's make sure that this works first. As you can see, we access the scene, and every object in the scene, we're going to add 1 to the X for that object. Okay, open up a fresh Blender, and then you can hit General if you want or anything like that. And you need the scripting view. So you can either go to General Scripting, or you might already have a tab for that. Go to Text, hit New. We'll paste in our script, and let's add a few objects just to make it a little more interesting. And now if we go to Text, Run Script, or you can also hit Alt-P, you see everything jumps over just a little bit. And I can also undo that. So that works as expected. Now that we know what the script does, we can define and register an operator. So I'll link to the docs in the blog post attached to this video. But basically, we just have to extend the operator class, and then we're going to add 2 fields. We need an ID name and a label for our operator. And then the most important part, the execute function to do whatever we want. Let's see what that looks like. So here's the code. We have a unique ID and label for our operator. And then this should look familiar. We basically just pasted our code that we wanted to run into the execute function, and then we return finished when we're done. That's it. All we have to do other than that is to register the operator the same way that we registered our panel classes before. Okay, back in Blender, I'm going to paste in our operator code and run it, and note our hello.world ID name. So if you hit F3 and type hello, you see it right here, minimal operator. So you can click it and everything moves over. Okay, now that we have our operator, let's add it to a panel so that we can invoke it with a button. This should look familiar if you saw the last video. We add a panel to the user interface with a label and an operator, which renders as a button, and it's currently using the built-in cone add operator. So we're going to replace this. As you can see here, we changed this to match the ID from the previous slides where we defined our operator, and the text of the button is slide everything over. So everything is the same for our panel. We just swapped out which operator we're using. Okay, let's upgrade this thing. I'm going to paste in the panel, and we don't need to register our operator twice. Now, if we run this, we're expecting this in the View 3D area, so we'll have to go find it. We ran it, we come right over here, we see a Greetings tab, and we have a Slide Everything button. And if we hit it, Same result. Beautiful. Now finally, if you want more info on this, see the last video. It's a bit of a review, but we're going to turn this into an add-on so we don't have to run it from the scripting window. So we just give it BL info. I threw the word PageKey in there so I can find it later to uninstall it. But anyway, we just need a register and an unregister method. And then if you still want to run it from the scripting menu, you add a main method. But these are the key things that make it show up, these three things, in the list of add-ons when you install it. Okay, so we'll paste in our metadata. We have BL info, register, and unregister. We've hidden away our registration under these methods. If we want to still run through the scripting window, we have a main method, but through PageKey on the name, whatever. You can run this script, but the whole point of this is to have it as an add-on. So hit save as, find a place you won't forget and save this as PageKey hello.py. You must have a .py, hit save as. Now go to edit, preferences, go to add-ons, hit install, find your hello. There's the one from the last video, but we'll click the one from this one. Hit install add-on. And now you see it here unchecked, check it, and it's good to go. Now, when we restart Blender, this should still be here because it's loading it from our py file. Let's try that. Kill Blender, restarted it fresh, hit general, go over here. Greetings, here it is, slide everything. Beautiful. All right, team, good work on that project one, the hello world. Let's move on to the video sequence editor, text adder, a second project-based learning. So we want to add a text element to the video sequence editor. I could not find a built-in operator to do this because a text element is just a video effect. So there was really no way to do it in one line to edit the text of the effect that you're adding. Eventually, I would love to populate slides from a config file, which I think would be a huge time saver for me personally, maybe for you too. Anyway, let's get into this. So it's the same 4 steps as before. Let's start with the script, the actual core functionality. We have a title variable. Eventually, we'll get this from a text field on the UI, but that's a little complicated. We get a reference to the sequence editor. We add a text strip effect. We make sure it has a type of text, and then we edit the text to include our title. So you'll notice this probably has a built-in operator, but adding the text part after, since it's not part of the constructor, it's very hard to do this with a built-in operator. So before we get any further, let's go ahead and uninstall that add-on so we don't leave a bunch of stuff laying around. I'm going to search PageKey. Here it is. We can uncheck it to disable it, and you'll notice the panel disappeared because it called unregister. And we can also remove it. I'll go ahead and do that. Now go to scripting, hit new. We'll paste in this guy, and this should add a text script to the sequencer. Hit Alt P, and it did run. So let's go check out video editing, and wow, look at that, it worked. The next step is to take that core functionality and turn it into an operator. So this looks almost exactly the same as the last one. And we have our execute function where we essentially just paste in that core functionality. And we gave it the vsc.addText name. Okay, back to the scripting tab. To turn this into an operator, we just nest it into the execute method like we mentioned. And if we run this guy, run script, go to video editing, we can delete our little auto-generated text. Now hit F3. And it's right at the top there, vsc.addText, and it works just the same. Finally, let's add our operator to a panel. Again, this is all very familiar, I'm sure. To add it to the sequence editor, you just have to change the space and region type. But the only change here is we're changing the operator that we're adding to our add text ID. Nothing new here, so I'll keep moving. So underneath this, we can paste the panel code, which calls our operator, and we're expecting to see this show up in the sequence editor. So if we run this script, I just ran it, go to video editing, down here you'll see VSC text, hello, here's our panel. So if we delete everything, click it, there it goes again. Last but not least, let's turn this into an add-on so we can install it much easier. Same as before, we'll add BL info, I'll add the word PageKey so you can easily search for it and remove it if you don't want it anymore. And we're registering both our operator and our panel that we defined before, and you can have the main method if you want to do it from the scripting view still. Okay, so you can paste the metadata down here with the info, register, unregister, and the main method, and we'll go delete these registers that are hanging out outside of any class. Run the script, make sure there are no errors, and then you can go to save as. Call this one PageKey vsc.py, save as. Now you can go to edit, preferences, add-ons, install, and here's our PageKey VSC. Hit install, check the box, looks good. Now let's restart Blender. Here's our fresh Blender, click general, whatever. Go to video editing. And here's our panel down here to add a text slide. Exactly what we wanted. So we're getting closer, but I wouldn't say any of these are particularly useful add-ons, right? The big thing is going to be getting a title field from the UI so that we're not hard coding the text that's added. That would really be a big step for us, but it's a little complicated based on my research so far. We need a custom class to hold the data types, all kinds of little things that we have to do. So I decided to split that into the next video. I still have some research to do, but stay tuned for that. So that's it. That's all we've got for this video. We went through the custom operator process, which is essentially try out the script, turn it into an operator, add the operator to a panel, and then create an add-on from all of that so you can easily install it. We did this for 2 projects, project-based learning, simple operator, a hello world, and an almost useful VSC operator, which we'll continue iterating on in future videos. If you liked this video, we're all about taking back tech, so we're rebuilding things from scratch, we're self-hosting, and much more. So subscribe. Are you an op?
No.
Okay. Are you an op?
I don't think of myself as an op. I think I'm a pretty easygoing guy, pretty chill, you know, pretty lovable. But I don't know. It depends who you ask.
Okay. Justin, how do you feel about Blender?
I got a 10-speed at home myself. It's about 27 years old. I've kind of avoided the whole NutriBullet craze, so I use it every day. It makes a lot of loud noises. It smokes a lot. There's this black sludge that seems to be coming out of it a lot of the time, even when I put it in the dishwasher. But you know, my smoothies are still pretty good. You know, they're keeping me in shape at this age. So,
what do you think about Blender?
It's good stuff, man. I use it a lot nowadays. Me and my boys will get together and we'll have Blender nights, and you know, we're just kind of tearing it up at the crib, blending a bunch of stuff. So I like it.
Are you an op?
I don't think so. I mean, I've been called it before. I don't usually agree with it, but I guess it depends on who you ask.